Get ready for the Girls on Games podcast, your weekly dose of news, reviews, and everything video games. Always served with a good helping of hype and just a pinch of salt. And now, your host, Leah.
Hello and welcome to another Girls on Games podcast. My name is Leah. I'm the host of this show. This is episode number 462, and today we're going to be talking about Remedy and Annapurna striking a deal. A problematic director at Bungie gets kicked to the curb, and we find out where Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom fit in the Zelda timeline. But before we get into that, I want to introduce you to the friendly voices around this digital table. Catherine, what's up?
Hello.
Hi. Joelle, hi.
Hi. Update. I've already had 2 pumpkin spice lattes since we last talked, so I'm very excited. I want the weather to catch up, but it's all good.
It was nice and cool here in Toronto today, but it's going back up in the middle of the week. So
Same for here.
Yep. All right, let's get through some housekeeping before we get into the crew check-in. If you enjoy this show that we do here every week, you can subscribe to it. It's available on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Podbean. If you'd like to get some GOG merch, you can do that by going to designbyhumans.com/shop/girlsongames. Or if you'd like to give us a tip, maybe buy us a coffee, you can do that by going to our Ko-fi. That's ko-fi.com/girlsongames. Oh, ladies, what have you been up to this week? Catherine?
Oh, not much. Did a bit of cocooning because we had a bit of that cooler weather. Although it was pretty warm this weekend. So I did a lot of cleaning. And then today, as we record this afternoon, as it is Labor Day, we hosted friends for a TTRPG session.
Nice.
We're wrapping up our campaign of Old Gods of Appalachia.
Nice.
For those who don't know, there is a tabletop role-playing game in the setting of the podcast, made in collaboration with the people that made the podcast, and it's in the Cypher system. The Cypher system is the system developed in part by Monty Cook, who used to be at the D&D. Information, just Google it. If you like it, get into it. We really enjoy it. For me, it's different. As somebody who's played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons and Call of Cthulhu, you end up in the same settings. This one, because it's set in the years of the podcast, it's set in the 1920s in that area of the United States. So, it taps into the mythical lore of that area, as per the stories detailed in the podcast. Which is a big cultural phenomenon. Highly encourage people to, if you're looking for a good podcast where it's just like stories, this is all folklore stories and cultural stories from that area of the United States. And the man has a very authentic accent. Because it's developed by a man and his wife, and they're from there, and they've basically researched and gathered story from the area where they're from, and it's really like immersive. It's fun. I've listened to a few episodes. Pascal's a big friend. One of the reasons why he backed the Kickstarter and got us this book and is GMing for us. So it's always good fun. Today we had to end a bit early because of the podcast, but you know, it's all good. But yeah, other than that, Leah sent me a link to sweaters that had lemons on them, so I ordered that.
It's very important.
Nice.
I looked at that webpage for like a good day, being like, do I get the cardigan, the sweater, both? Do I want the lemon cardigan, but the strawberry sweater?
There were so many cute sweaters. I mean, I tried on the one with the cherries hanging off of it, and I'm like, I still think I'm going to end up purchasing at some point.
Yeah, I just ordered online. Like I know the store well. I know my size, and because I'm local to Simon's, I get I think my threshold for free shipping is $50. Like the sweater alone was free shipping because it's over
$80
$50.
sweater.
Yeah, but I wear my shit long, so I don't mind.
No,
people,
no. I mean, good stuff has to come at a decent price, and
people be like, "Oh, the fruity stuff is out of season." I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm wearing
never
this until
Never.
it unravels.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? Joelle, what were you up to this week?
So yeah, it was work has been pretty crazy, but we did end up being able to go to the greatest Minnesota get together, the State Fair. Went on Tuesday. Still super busy, but apparently they broke a record for attendance this last Friday. So at least we weren't there at that time. Because I think there was over 250,000 people there that day. So thank God.
That is entirely too many people. Is that is this the state fair? So the entire state goes to the one area and eat corn dogs.
Yes, and a assortment of other things as well. So people travel from out of state to go to the state fair. So people will make.
Oh my goodness!
They have a whole section in a parking area for campers because people will bring their RV and be at the fair in their RV and will stay there for the whole time.
Wow.
So, yeah, we saw a lot of baby animals because sometimes when you go there early, they have some baby animals. So we saw that, and we got to pet a 3-day-old piglet.
Oh my god!
Adorable!
I'm
and
so jelly.
soft. He was in a milk coma, so the handler had him in a warm blankie, and we were able to give him little scratches behind his ears. He was snoozing.
See, a milk coma?
Yeah, so he just ate.
Yeah. So he
Yeah,
was right
so-
out of it.
Yeah, so we're like, how is he still sleeping? Because it's loud and it's not quiet.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, he's in a milk coma. Like they all conk out like a few minutes after they eat because they're so tired.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
Adorable.
So it was really cute. And then they had some fun new foods. You know, every year the new foods are a big deal. And we're not a big fans of ranch, but there was deep fried ranch that I heard you either loved or hated.
Deep fried ranch, like
What's in
the
the middle?
sauce?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just sauce in the middle, or cream cheese, or
No, it's like a little breaded triangle of ranch that's been deep fried. So they bread it. I don't know how they do it. There must be a mold or something that they put them in these molds and then they.
I would be
deep fry.
down for like
I need to try.
bite of chicken wing, bite of the deep fried ranch.
Yeah.
I would
But
be
it's just-
double
I don't-
fisting it with something else.
I don't know if it comes with ranch to dip it in. If you dip the deep fried ranch in ranch,
It's ranch inception.
it is.
That is such an American thing to say. And you know it's a possibility.
Well, I don't know. But then I wish I would have tried the dill pickle pizza. So next year I'll have
They
to
had
get
that here at the
C&E?
C&E last year, I
Oh,
think.
did they?
Was the dill pickle. This year the dill pickle thing was either shots in a dill pickle, so they like hollowed out the dill pickle.
Oh.
Or it was dill pickle deep fried Oreos.
Oh, I don't know
Yeah.
about that chocolate
Yeah.
and dill combo.
Deep fried pickles are amazing, again, with
Yeah.
ranch.
Yeah, so are deep fried Oreos separately.
Yes.
But
Yes.
together,
Yes.
it's either going to be chaos or magic.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards chaos. I didn't try them. I'm not a big fan of dill pickles in general. Though I did like the dill pickle cotton candy that I had last year, which is weird.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
I love all the weird and wild things they come up with for these fairs.
I know, it's fun. And the new thing that they had was paella, which was so cool because the booth that they made it in, they had I think like 6 huge paella pans, like the like authentic big ones, and they were cooking up that paella, and it probably was one of the few things at the fair that had vegetables in it. So we did because it's a traditional paella.
that wasn't like
is-
corn.
It was crispy
the
rice.
cob.
It's crispy rice from the bottom of the pan, and they put vegetables in it, and then chicken, and you could add seafood on top, cooked seafood, and an egg if you'd want an egg on top with the
Wow.
with the spicy Spanish sauce on top. That was pretty good. So yeah, we had a good time at the fair. It was was like 6 hours, like all day. It was
Wow.
fun, but
Are there rides?
yep, we don't do rides. I get motion sickness way too easy.
I don't do the rides that they can tear down and put back up.
Yeah, it's those rides.
I don't do those rides.
That's fair.
It's not my, yeah, nope. No,
But they have a whole
hard
ride
pass.
section. They have like a whole agriculture section. They have art section. There's just everything. They have a environmental building, and these buildings are up all year round, so they do things at the fairgrounds all year. They have what they call Machinery Hill, where you can look at tractors and cars, and they had a lot of vans, like vans that you can take camping or like travel in.
The Sprinter vans that people convert into like almost like RVs.
Yes, they had those you can buy pre-made. They had campers. They have like John Deere is there and Cadet and some other things. So you go and like look at all the machines and Polaris and motorcycles and slingshots and side by sides and things like that. So yeah, so lots to do. It was super fun. So I'm glad that we went. And a good time at the fair. And today is Labor Day, and we have a day off as well. And I spent all day playing video games, which made my heart so happy.
Me too. Me too. On my front, yeah, it's busy. This is going to be probably one of the busiest months of the year for us at iHeart. But Saturday got to go and do some retail therapy with my sister, hence why Catherine got a photo of lemon sweaters, because I saw them and said, you must buy. Very on brand. Must acquire. And then we hung out and had a fantastic... Well, we were out shopping. The boys were smoking ribs, beef ribs on the smoker at my sister's place. So, and we were talking to them about all the festivities, about babies coming and things like that. So I'm helping plan baby showers and those things, you know, as you do as soon-to-be auntie. But then yesterday night, my husband and I sat down and played a card game. It's actually a card game that my next door neighbor has made. It's called Iron Future, a fast-paced game for 2 players by Matt Hurd.
Oh.
I'm showing it off to the crew. So the concept of this game is that in the future is 2150 isn't so bright, as the collapse of military-industrial complex has reduced once mighty nations to optimistic factions. Nations to opportunistic factions, scouring the bones of the old world. You need to build up forces from a motley crew of infantry and farm equipment by securing, by securing resource-rich areas and trading the spoils for tanks, orbital weapon platforms, and ground-shaking mechs. So the concept is that you have a deck, both you and your counterpart have a deck of different mechs and weapons and tanks and things like that, and you lay down 3 different land masses, and they could be like a farm, a swamp, a warehouse base, and you essentially, using the cards, have to battle against one another to conquer these lands, and someone ends up winning each land. So whoever wins the most of the 3, so 2 out of 3 lands for the session, essentially wins the round. And then you can you earn points to buy more mechs and weapons and whatever else, depending on what lands you acquire, and then you can buy more weapons and mechs and then go after and battle for more lands, and the cycle continues. And it's cute. It's not a super long game. It's like the first to 3 rounds wins. We had 2, Mike won 2 right away, and then the second one was a draw, or the third one, sorry, was a draw, and then he won the third one because he ended up getting so many lands and so many points to buy more mechs that he was kicking my butt. So yeah, it's cute, it's fun. He's got it up. ironfuturegame.com is the website if you're curious, if you like playing card games. I like having games that you can play that's just 2 people too.
That is nice.
Which is kind of nice, because usually the games that I have are like 3 or more. But yeah, maybe thinking about having him on the podcast sometime soon to come in and chat about it too, the process of creating a board game. Because I would imagine it's somewhat similar to in conceptual thought behind making a video game. Obviously, the scale is not the same, but, you know, like, there's things you have to think about when it comes to, like, balancing systems and things like that. So, yeah, if you want to check it out.
And
really fun
he self-published, right?
That
it looks like it's, like, only on his website that you can buy it.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much
Wow.
right now, only on his website. He did do I think he did a Kickstarter. But yeah, and I don't think it's super expensive to purchase either. Purchase Canadian, $25 Canadian to purchase it.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, he was asking if I knew any board game podcasts. Do you guys know any board game podcasts? Listening out there too, like the folks that listen to the podcast, like, do you guys know any dedicated board game influencers / podcast / streamers / whatever? Because, like, that's something that, like, I'm not super knowledgeable about.
Me neither. Like, the biggest game in town for the longest time was Geek and Sundry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that got, like, fizzled out. There must be, like, I'm sure there's podcasts for that and subreddits.
I think of a lot of, like, D&D folks and things like that, right?
Depends, because D&D is, like, you have the TTRPG. You have the TT and you have the TTRPG. A lot, they intersect a lot, but board games tend to be just about the strategy and the play and whatever. And TTRPG has RPG in it, like it's about the role playing. But usually there's a big intersection. Like, for example, Alban, which we play Outlaws of Felicia with, and Sarah, they're big on the tabletops. Like, they have a big collection of games.
Well then maybe they might like Iron Future.
Maybe, and maybe they do know.
If you know someone
podcasts.
who does it. Right now, I think it's only in English, since he is self-publishing. But, yeah, if you know of any, let us know, because I'd like to pass on the info. I like uplifting creators.
Yeah.
What's your favorite them with people?
What's your favorite tabletop podcast of any size?
Yes. All right, let's check in with the fantasy critic and see how things are going. I imagine we're not going to see a ton of movement when it comes to pickups, because a lot of people have everything right now. Okay, so Girls on Games podcast, the standings haven't really changed. Me, Joelle, Kat. Kat has 2 games coming out in the next little while. She's got Astrobot and Warhammer. And then, Joelle, you have Plucky Squire. And then I've got 3 coming. Yeah, Frostpunk, Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom, and Starfield Shattered Space. Then is Joelle and Kat's got a bunch of stuff coming out. So we are in the home stretch now, considering we are now officially in September.
Oh, Vision of Mana came out, and that hit me hard because I had counterpicked it.
Yeah, I had
Awkward.
Visions of Mana. Yeah, that gave me 7 points. So you lost 7 points on that one.
I'm gonna go from the queen to dead last this year. Okay.
I don't know.
You never know, right? You never know.
No, I got Dragon Age as a counter pick, so that's
oh boy.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big ouch. That's a big mistake. Huge.
All right, let me just quickly check. Yeah, August 17th was the last time something happened. Okay, let's go and check at the community leak. All right, Darth is still in first, then Offshore Meteor, then Pat, then Jessica Starr, then Alban, Ross, me, Phoenix, Stacey Kingsby, and then Zhang Pao. That's the order we are in right now. Let's see, who had the Visions of Mana in this? Did I pick up Visions of Mana in this? I still have 2 games to pick up in this. Oh dear. No, I did not have Visions of Mana. Who had Visions of Mana? I'm flipping through. No, not that one. Pat had it, so he got the 7 points. Pat also counterpicked Dragon Age, the Veilguard, so
Rip.
You're not alone there, Joelle. You're not alone.
Well,
It was a good gamble to figure out it doesn't come out. It
in
could have been
January,
Yeah.
it seemed fairly good, and then they announced that it was coming out, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
I mean, there's still time to delay the game.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, if it's coming out in
Yeah, never know.
October, they're probably hitting gold right about now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is Fantasy Critic. Let me just take a quick look and see if anything is in the history. Nope. August 17th was the last action on that, too. All right, cool. I think this is going to evolve now into the we are playing Star Wars games of lots of different types. Well, actually 2 types. Catherine, how goes Jedi Survivor?
This game is stupid hard, and I hate it. No, I love it, but it is stupid hard.
It's stupid hard?
Yeah, it's just every time I'm, like, exploring, and I see a little trinket, and I'm just like, oh, yeah, like, give me stuff. I gotta need my unlocks. And then, for example, I was hanging out in some fort close to where I need to go for the main quest, and I got distracted because I'm like, ooh, data disk for Z, and the floor gave way, and then there was a big giant bullfrog that knocked me the fuck out. And now there's like my essence is down there, like in Souls game. I have to go back and get back my essence, but I can't beat the fucking thing because I'm bad at dodging. It's just like I don't know if it's the time why I'm so bad at timing for dodging, but it keeps like hitting me. So my last resort tomorrow when I pick up the game again will be to lower the difficulty.
There you go.
Because I'm not at the lowest, but I think I will. Because all the other bosses, I had no issue. I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's the 3 years of For Honor, but I'm much better at parrying in this game than I am at dodging, and I'm just like, what the fuck? So maybe I should use that to my advantage and go full lightsabers, because I was using a lot of the force powers, but on some of those big motherfuckers, like, unless you top there, it won't do much to throw the force at them. So
yeah, it's mostly a game where you want to counter and
dodge
effectively. Yeah, you want to break their resolve.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try again and then maybe lower the difficulty, but yeah, it's definitely completely different from what I saw of Outlaws, because like the Jedi games by Respawn are very much you're on a track. It's level design, right? You get somewhere and then you have to like do a parkour, like literally a parkour around. And then once you get to the top, you can unlock a shortcut and things like that. Then you can get around easier. But that's what it is, right? They gave us Kobo as our home base. That seems to be a bit more open world and a bit more of stuff to see. And every time you go, there's like more and more. But like when you go to the other worlds, it's very much just follow whatever track they have you going, which is not bad, by the way. It's just that's what the game design decision is. And it works for what they want to do, which is it's a lot of verticality in this game, right? A lot of verticality and just movement. It's a lot of parkour, just moving around using the force to do acrobatics and then land somewhere and fucking force push a stormtrooper into the abyss. Feel good about yourself. So completely different from Outlaws, but yeah. Still enjoying it. I'm gonna finish that before I even look at Outlaws.
Yeah, because Outlaws got me in the full open world thing. I haven't left the first, I guess, world that you end up on, because I am totally feeling that, ooh, shiny, that over there. Or the, what are all these missions? And then I go down all these rabbit holes. So like, I am just like completing all of my abilities as I go and scooter my way around.
Leaving the tutorial area overpowered.
Yeah, I don't even think this is the tutorial area, because they really do bring you through like the beginning. Like this is like after the opening sequence. Like there is a moment where you go through this one first part that's very much the tutorial zone, and then you crash land somewhere, and then it's like Star Wars Outlaws screen comes across, and you're like, oh, I'm in the game now. Okay, that's when it actually started, the part that I had played in the demo that I played a few weeks ago. But I'm curious to see how Joelle's going with it. You picked it up on Friday.
Yes, I as soon as I woke up, I got it and I downloaded it so I could play it after work. So I am still on. So you're on one planet for the intro, like you said, and then you get to another planet. So I'm still on that planet. I haven't left yet, but that's because I can't leave yet. I would like to leave.
Well, that's part of it. Yeah, I
But-
think I can leave, but I'm like, no, I'm going to go do all the things first, and then I will leave.
Yeah, but the gameplay, you can't just go. You have to complete certain things.
Yeah.
So I am forced to stay, which I'm like okay. I will say it was a bit of a slow burn for me. I thought the atmosphere and the aesthetics of the game were amazing. Like you truly are on an outskirt planet, like in the Star Wars world. And the music is amazing. The music is so good. I hope that it's up for a nomination for this year Game Awards because the music is sick. It took me a little while to get into it. I didn't kind of catch me right away. With the same, like as Jedi Fallen Order or Survivor, just kind of really had me focused and just wanting to keep playing to see what's happening. And this, I felt like I had to keep playing to see if I was like gonna get hooked. And so as I've kept going, I think now I'm like 6 hours into it. I'm definitely getting there. As I was able to do more things and have a little bit more freedom, definitely, and getting used to the mechanics, like what can I use as I'm sneaking around, and trying not to miss the Force too much because there's some ways where I was like, man, in some ways I miss the Force. So.
Yeah, I kept going back to tropes of games that I played in the past, like especially the stealth from Assassin's Creed and things like that. Like you're seeing a lot of that come through. Mm-hmm. And then realizing it was like, oh, I can use Nyx to distract people and then not have to, and it will distract more than one person and go and do things, right? And then also kind of knowing what the barrier is to like how far, what is the minimal amount of distance that you can kill someone and not trigger another enemy to come at you because they don't notice. You know, like those kinds of things, like getting used to that. I found too that like I spent a lot of time in the menus kind of just reading through like the different mechanics and stuff like that. And like they kind of lead you into wanting to try different things because it's not your progression in your abilities is not necessarily just built on what you can find and acquire. It's like go and take down 3 enemies who are distracted and then you get this upgrade. Go and do a jump on your speeder for 60 and be airborne for 60 meters and don't like get ejected and then you get something. Do so many interactions with Nyx and then you get more, right? And it's like, oh, and that kind of like opens it up a bit, I find, to like really be like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. Those kinds of things, right? That I see where you're coming from, where it was a little bit of a slow go to start. Now that I've kind of got like the groove in there and I've kind of got a mission of like, no, I'm going to go do all this. Because there's a lot it gives you all at once.
Yes.
Like really.
Yeah, I think that was part of my... At first I was like, oh, now I have to do all these things. And I was like, oh, but now I don't know what to do. I felt a little bit paralyzed of like,
classic open world game that's just like, you're in the world
very
now,
much.
have fun. And you're like,
Yeah, and you're like, I don't know where to turn. Can I do this? There was a lot of like me screwing up too and getting like caught or killed or whatever and having to redo it. But I don't know if it's like the way that the game is meant to be played, but I started like cheesing things. There was like this one area, an Imperial base, that I was trying to get all the treasure pieces out of. And there was this tower that you could go in, and when you went up there, you kind of like turned off the turrets and the cameras and all that kind of stuff using the hacking thing, which is really, I enjoy the hacking game a lot. But I was using that space to get away from the bad guys. Yeah. Like I would set them all off, then run into the turbo lift, go up to the top, and then just wait until they couldn't find me, and then go back down again.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's like how you're supposed to play the game or if I'm just cheesing it.
I think as long as
my way to deal with it.
You can get away with it.
There was way too many enemies for like
there
just me.
There is a lot of enemies, and they will not stop. Like
Nope.
I tested that because I loved being on Horizon. I love being sneaky, and you like kill one, and then they all have a hullabaloo of like, oh, this person's down, like find her, blah blah blah, and then after a few seconds they stop. Not in this game. They will come after you, and then if I was on, I'm a little far in, so I had to find a part for the ship, and I had to go to a specific Imperial base. And I thought, well, I'll knock someone out, and then I'm going to go over to the other side. I'll knock that person out, and then they'll, like, forget. They did not forget. They sounded the alarm, and then I just went at it, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to fight my way out of here. So I kept fighting, and I got all the people down in my area. So then they sent in a backup ship.
Yep.
To come to the area, and then on the screen it flashes wanted. So like now you're like in deep shit, and you just either you're gonna die or you better run away, because I couldn't keep up because I just don't have enough like resources. I picked up guns and I picked up grenades and what I kind of had, but it's hard. Like it really pushes the stealth. Like it's hard to fight your way through some. You can't just muscle your way through some areas, at least where I'm at right now. So,
yeah, this is not the game for that. That's for sure. I am definitely being sneaky, wander around, like distracting everybody with Nyx as he plays dead, and I go and kick them from behind and knock them out. Which faction are you kind of like siding with right now?
Crimson Dawn. I'm doing.
Me too.
I'm doing Crimson Dawn. I am trying to play a little towards the Pikes, but then I made a decision that made that harder.
Yeah.
I was like,
the Pikes are pretty pissed at me right now.
I was like, whoopsie. So, so I think that is an interesting flair. I guess I just wish I'd have a bit more from backstory on Kay. I found that to be a little light for my liking, and everyone has their own like level of character creation in that. I want to know why she's doing what she's doing outside of just because she wants to like stop
make money.
Yeah, I'm just like, is that it? Like, is this all that I'm going through all this effort for? So hopefully there'll be more as I go. So I'm hopeful for that.
It's interesting too because like I've seen some stuff because of the preview event, but I haven't hit those story beats yet. Now it could be just because I've decided to avoid the main story and do all the side quests.
Yeah,
classic.
That I haven't seen it yet, which that happens to me all the time. But I'm having fun just scooting around. I feel like it's making me learn the mechanics better than if I kind of just barreled my way through the story mode. I have a ton of money now, though.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
I just go and collect things. And...
Yeah, the resources are abundant, which is nice. I will say, in the beginning, I did get lost a lot. I get turned around a lot. The map, I kind of wish there was a heads-up map. Yes,
for not just like the guiding thing across the top, like just because when the guiding thing of the yellow dot that shows you the direction of your next imperative is not necessarily the way you want to get there, because you could easily drive yourself off a cliff.
Yes.
And I've done that a few times where I became airborne and didn't realize it.
And there's fall damage.
Yeah, there's definitely fall damage. It is forgiving when you die, though, I gotta say. The game's fairly forgiving when you die. But yeah, I kept going back to the map to see, like, what roads do I go down, right? And it looks like it's further apart in the map than it actually is.
Yeah.
Do you have an auto, like like how you're on the horse in Assassin's Creed or Witcher, and they just gone?
I haven't. I don't think so.
I haven't seen one. I looked, and I also looked to see if I could
the auto path.
If I could help my. I'd wish they give you a bit more direction. Yeah, as Leah said, because sometimes things look really similar, and so I'm like, do I turn? Which way do I go? So, also, I wish also on when you scroll out and see the world map that they'd give you a compass, because on the top bar, it'll tell you northwest, east, or south. But then when I go on the map, it's not the same. North isn't north on the map.
Oh, really? I didn't notice that. I was really just going by wherever they had the point, the yellow dot that I would drive towards, the yellow item.
No,
right?
so north isn't up. North is to the right. That's north. So I got really confused for a while. I was like, "What? Where am I going?" Oh my goodness! So that frustrated me a little bit because I kept getting lost, and I was like, "This is annoying." I felt a bit trolled, but I will say that the flying part on the ship was fun in space. I was pleasantly.
I'm not there yet.
I was pleasantly surprised. I thought that would be more difficult for me because I get all turned around up there, but I thought that was well done. I thought that was fun. So I hope I get to do a few more of those bits because that was very satisfying. And playing it on the PS5, it is really fun with the DualSense because there's sometimes where you'll have an element in the game area, and it maybe only affects one side of K, and the other side isn't affected, like wind or noise or something. And it'll only shake on that one side of the controller and not the other side. So it is really cool that I can like feel it. I'm like, ooh, like something's happening over on this side, and I can feel it. And also, when things come over the radio, it'll come out the controller, so it feels really close to you, which is really neat. And they use the controller, I think, really, really well. So that's been really fun to experience an open world, sneaky game with like the triggers being like with certain guns, you have different forces of triggers and things like that. So that's been really fun. I really like that they incorporated that into the game because I think for me as a player, it really enhances the gameplay that we have this technology and they're using it, and it's makes it more immersive in my opinion.
Yeah,
so that's been fun.
I agree. Yeah, I'm often not putting the speeder bike down full throttle because I lose control because I'm a terrible driver in video games. So it's like halfway just so I can scoot around faster than running. There's still a few things that I'm trying to wrap my head around, like unlocking certain things, like some of the fast travel points, and why in some cases I can't fast travel.
Yeah.
Like I can understand if I'm in the middle of an Imperial base under fire that I can't fast travel to a safe spot. That makes total sense. But then I'll like not be in one and be in some other spot and it seems like totally normal and I can't fast travel and I don't understand why.
Oh, that is interesting. I don't know. But overall, I think it's fun. Like it's
definitely fun.
It's very fun.
Does it feel very Star Wars?
Oh yeah.
Star Wars.
It feels very Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're not a Jedi, but
no.
And
I haven't seen a Jedi yet either at
I
all.
haven't.
But it's about the world. Yeah. It's about like being in a giant galaxy that had a lot of technological advancement stunted by a war and a dictatorship. That's like that feeling you get, like
it definitely feels like that. Oh,
yeah. If you've seen any movie or anything related to Star Wars, like you cannot mistake that this world is heavily. They did such a great job of keeping everything in line and in tow with the feeling and the movement and the world building and the characters. Even the NPCs that you see are very diverse in culture and character that you see in the shows, which is really fun. And like their original language is heard in the game, and it's super fun. So I can see like if you're really deep in Star Wars, but maybe you're not like a huge gamer, you'd probably like love this game. And it probably would be it's possible it might be a more accessible game than Jedi Fallen Order or Survivor, because I don't think it's as difficult of a game.
And I'm playing on normal, but there is like an easy mode that like you can play on too. That's definitely more story. But speaking about, Joelle, you set me up for a fantastic transition. Speaking about the voices and stuff in the game and the languages, found out as well that friend of the show, Steve Saylor, is actually the English voice of Jabba the Hutt in the game. So obviously Jabba speaks his own language, but if you turn on some of the accessibility things, you can actually hear Steve say the lines as Jabba, which is really freaking dope.
That is so cool.
So basically, every alien character has the option of like being like in the show where it's just subtitles, or you can turn it on to be that everybody speaks.
I don't know
language.
if it's absolutely every character, because what I think it's mostly to do with ones that maybe key characters in the game where there are scenes, because there are scenes with Jabba the Hutt.
Okay.
But I mean, every character that you hear speak another language, their language comes up in written text with English. But yeah,
Okay.
I don't know for folks who are hard of seeing if that then is also audibly translated as well. That's a good question.
That would be for that. That would be for people that can't read subtitles at all, that rely only on audio. But that's good. Like I saw the tweet and I was like, holy shit. I was so happy for him.
Now,
that's really cool.
I'm still confused because is Jabba the Hutt, because that faction is available. Like
the Hutts?
Yeah, the Hutts. And I just have the standard edition for the game. Can I still have access to that? Because I thought it was behind the paywall.
I only see 3 factions right now.
Yeah.
I don't see all 4. I saw 4 when I was doing the demo or whatever, because they gave you some like instructional stuff.
Yeah.
But right now I only see, or maybe I do see the Hutts. There's definitely a spot missing. I'm trying to remember now, because you can see the 3 of them lined up and then there's a blank space.
I think that's the Imperials. Because that was on the
Maybe
end.
that's what that is.
Yeah, because I see the Pikes, Crimson Dawn, and the Hutts. And then there's a blank spot for the Imperials, which I'm guessing comes later.
Yeah, I haven't seen I don't know if I've seen anything where I can get missions from the Imperials yet. I did come across a guy that there's like one of the quest items to do is a rogue Imperial agent. But really the only 2 that I've interacted with so far are the Pikes and Crimson Dawn.
Well, I did look ahead to the chapters, and you do go to, I think, 5. There's 5 planets in total. So I know that there's more space exploration to come, which would make sense to me to have more choices as you go throughout the game. Like, I'd hope so, because like that would be that's only 3 for a whole. I think the game's fairly long, so. But yeah.
But is one of the faction tied behind one of the editions?
I thought I heard.
Was that the question?
Yeah, I thought that I had heard early on that some of Jabba stuff, you only got access to if you had like a Ubisoft Plus account, or if you bought
the season
gold
pass
edition. Yeah, like the season pass. But maybe they changed it since then. I'm not sure. I see the faction, so maybe that leads me to believe that is not the case anymore. But
the season pass says Wild Card and Star Wars Outlaw: A Pirate's Fortune narrative expansion, the Day 1 exclusive mission Jabba's Gambit, and the Castle Runner character pack. So I think it's just the mission.
Oh, okay. It's just that one mission.
So there's Pike, Crimson Dawn, Hutt Cartel, and Ashiga Clan.
Oh.
That's the one we haven't seen yet.
Oh,
so it's not Imperial at all.
Why
it's
does
Ashiga Clan.
Ashiga Clan. Why do they sound?
Ashiga. I imagine that comes later. Yeah, right now I'm excellent with Crimson Dawn.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, yeah, it's those dude. Okay. Sorry, I saw the robes and I was like, oh yeah, I know who these are.
Well, we've got more Star Wars ahead of us. But right now I think it's time to take a walk down memory card lane. Each week the team will have to guess a historical game that would have released during the time of this episode's airing. We will start with its release date, then I'll give hints about the game for the team to attempt to guess what it is. As always, ladies, talk it out. This game released on September 7th, 2018.
7th, 2018. Okay.
2018.
2018. I feel
September.
not...
Was it God of War?
Nope.
That's a good guess. I feel like it's in that general area. 2018. It was after like the big push, like with Tears of the King, not Tears of the Kingdom, but Breath of the Wild and Horizon and all that jazz.
A year later.
Yeah.
September.
I'm ready for the next hint.
Yeah.
It is not an origin story.
It is not an origin story. Not an origin story. Is it Spider-Man?
Yes, it is.
Hey, nicely done. There it is. Beautiful.
Marvel Spider-Man released on September 7th, 2018. It's not an original story.
Yeah.
The photo mode was quite popular with the community. There's a podcast that plays while you travel through the world that comments on your actions. Though there is one main protagonist you control throughout most of the game, there are two other characters you also play for brief scenes. It is in an open-world version of New York City. The combat was inspired by the Batman Arkham series. The traversal gameplay was inspired from the developer's previous games and is considered one of the best superhero games ever made.
Yeah. I was like,
Not an
superhero. I was like, I bet it's superhero.
I was like, which superhero game finally decided to skip the origin story? I remember Spider-Man was like, we all know how Spider-Man happened.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. Well, that was easy. All right, folks, I think it's time to take a little break, and then we will jump into news of the week. Be right back. Okay, we're back with news of the week. Catherine, Remedy and Annapurna did a deal.
Yes, and it's not Annapurna, the games division, but actually the movie and TV division that made a deal with Remedy.
I didn't know they had a movie and TV division.
I think it's pretty new. They also tend to be a bit more like on the indie side.
Yeah, possibly. But yeah, when I was reading through the article, I was like, what? Okay. And then, I was like, oh, I learned something new every day. The more you know graphic goes across my face.
Yeah.
Bing, bing, bing.
For example, they did soundtrack, The Plant Against America, Monsterland, Pam and Tommy, I Love That For You, The Staircase, Changeling, Dead Ringers, and Sausage Party Foodtopia.
They did Sausage Party?
Yeah.
That's a weird movie.
Yeah. So, for example, but I mostly know them for their game, for them publishing games like Stray. But yeah, they have signed a deal that Annapurna is going to finance 50% of Control 2.
Whoa.
Nice.
And the deal
you played
is...
Control, right?
Fucking loved it. I love that game, yes.
Yeah.
Can't do the Alan Wake games. Too spoopy, too creepy. Control got me with the floating around and throwing file cabinets in people's faces.
Okay.
I could not do Control, but...
Some of the best world building in a video game I've seen in Control. And from what I've heard, Alan Wake is in that same vein, but just reading emails or files or notes around the office was amazing. Like, I'm sorry, the fridge that you couldn't take your eyes off of, like that whole exchange between coworkers for that, it was beautiful. But all that to say that Annapurna didn't just give money to Remedy to be like, it's not because they're a fan of the games. Maybe they are. But it's also to secure the movie and TV rights to both Control and Alan Wake.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So it's part of Remedy's move to self-publish its own title. And of course, self-publishing is expensive. Mm-hmm. But Annapurna, being a publisher in the biz, they know stuff. They were like, all right, we'll give you money, but give us, this will secure us the rights for the TV and movie. Full control of the IP stays with Remedy. They're not being grabby like that. But I just think, Alan Wake is perfect for the screen. I would see Alan Wake being a TV series.
Yep.
And maybe Control being a sister movie.
Yep.
That you see. But yeah. So just in the notes, they were like, "Oh, horror game Alan Wake 2 was funded and published last year by Epic Games, and although it has yet to generate a profit, is Remedy's fastest-selling game and huge critical hit." So these games cost a lot. Like Sister Series Control was published by 505 Games, sold over 4 million copies, and generated 100 million euros. Control 2 was also due to be published by 505, but they acquired the publisher rights back earlier this year.
Oh, okay.
I'm not worried about Alan Wake 2. I'm kind of surprised Alan Wake 2 hasn't yet turned a profit because it is a darling and it's very popular. But it's probably the kind of game that has a longevity to it that stays in the consciousness of gamers, and eventually people navigate to it.
And being a horror game, also too, it kind of limits who can acquire it. You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna have kids picking that up and going gangbusters over it, right?
So, I think this is great news. I think this partnership makes sense. I'm looking forward to Control 2. I know Remedy is also working on remakes of Max Payne 1 and 2. They're doing that for Rockstar, but apparently they also have a multiplayer spin-off Condor of Control, the DLC for Control. And developing a Control multiplayer spin-off Condor, some DLC for Alan Wake 2, and remakes of Max Payne 1 and 2 for Rockstars. Hey, look at the commas, girl. They will tell you context and separate things. So we'll have a link to the full article that has like all the nitty gritty and quotes from the CEOs being like, "We're so happy about this. Business, business, business." Like in the Lego movie, like business, business, business. Is this working? Yes. Yay!
Business. Yeah, that's good. It's good. It means more Control. Hopefully more Alan Wake. And yeah, whatever Condor is.
Yeah.
Kat, next story on the list that you noted here. Bungie fires problematic director. You want to bring us through that one?
Ding dong, the witch is dead. Bungie dismissed ex-Marathon reboot director Chris Barrett over misconduct. After many women have officially filed complaints against his behaviors.
Yeah.
Unwanted advance that felt uncomfortable because he was significantly more powerful than they were at the company. So, this was reported by Bloomberg. Bloomberg is paywalled, but I have a link for a TLDR article off of GameIndustry.biz that is not paywalled. That will give you some of the surface level. If you want the really nitty gritty, you'll have to pay for Bloomberg. But yeah, according to the report, Bungie employees weren't even told the circumstances behind Barrett's departure.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And he kind of left. Members of the Marathon team were allegedly told by management that he was taking a sabbatical. Mm-hmm. And then he just didn't come back. And the Bloomberg article came out, and some of them learned through that article.
Oh, wow.
In a statement to Bloomberg, Barrett, who was fired, said, "I feel that I have always conducted myself with integrity and been respectful and supportive of my colleagues, many of whom I consider my closest friends. I never understood my communications to be unwanted. I would never have thought they could possibly have made anyone feel uncomfortable. If anyone ever felt that way about their interaction with me, I am truly sorry. Then why were you sending barrage of texts to female employees? There's a baseline."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they already let him go, so at least he's apologizing after the fact and not just, I mean, I'm like, well, it's something. I know it's not, obviously it should never have happened, but I mean, at least it's something. And then the response from the CEO, Pete Parsons, said that abusive leaders had been terminated or left the developer, later adding, if new information comes to light, whether through the story or by named or anonymous people coming forward, we will act on that information and investigate with integrity. So it seems like they're at least publicly saying all the right things. We'll see if actions continue to support.
I know a lot of people are looking forward to the Marathon reboot. So don't feel just because some asshole left that was probably preventing people from actually being productive at work that it's going to get canned. If it's get canned, it's not because of they fired this asshole. It's because of shareholders.
Yeah.
So they'll be fine without. The project has been working without him for like almost a year, it sounds like. So
Yeah, especially if you went on sabbatical. And I say that with air quotes.
yeah.
Forced sabbatical.
Asked to leave while they read through your emails.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's take a turn. We've now are in September. We've got a new Zelda coming out. Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is coming out in 23 days, 24 days, since this is the 2nd of September. Is it the 26th that it comes out? I think it is.
Yeah, something like
And
that.
every time we get a new Legend of Zelda, we always wonder, where does this fit in the timeline? Because apparently all Zelda games need to fit in a timeline. Well, not anymore, folks. So I'm going to read through the story that, considering today is a holiday, not just in Canada, but in the US, I was actually surprised that there was new articles popping up. This one specifically on Kotaku.com, which leads to another article that I'll explain in a bit. The title is Nintendo officially declares Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom to be outside of the Zelda series timeline. It exists in a whole other reality from the rest of the franchise. So 9 hours ago from when we recorded this. So who would have thought this would be a big story on any other day? But hey, it's a holiday Monday. Let's get this published. So it reads, it's official. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom don't fit on any previous Legend of Zelda timeline. As revealed by Nintendo this weekend, the two open-world games that bookended the Switch's lifespan stand alone in their own version of reality. Which means all that time you spent trying to work out how they fit in with the previous games was futile. So we all know that the Legend of Zelda timeline kind of splits in 3 different sections, right? We've essentially got the hero is defeated, and then so everything comes down. So Skyward Sword happens. Then I believe the one after that is
Minish Cap.
Minish Cap, all the way up until we get to Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time is the pivot point, and then from there we've got kind of 2 branching timelines from that. One where the hero is defeated, and one where the hero is triumphant. And then within hero is triumphant, because the whole time thing, there's a version of the child era and the adult era. So every other game after Ocarina of Time fits into one of those spots. And there was an event, let me see, Australian Nintendo site Vooks picked up an information during Cindy's Nintendo Live 2024 over the weekend. So curious to see that there was a Sydney event that the rest of us didn't know about, or they don't. It's not like one of those global events that everybody kind of jumps on to Twitch and YouTube for. So they posted a photograph of a slide showing shown by the Japanese publisher that lays it all out. So they have it in this article on Vooks.net. So I ask you, ladies, and those listening who are nerds about this stuff, to go to the article that we've posted in the show notes, because this walks you through it and shows you this slide, which looks like it comes straight out of the Legend of Zelda Historia, but it's like Legend of Zelda history. You see a timeline, you see all the games that lead up to Ocarina of Time, then the split with the 2, and then the extra 2 in the end. And then over on the right-hand side, there is a clear delineation, because there was a line where it does not attach to anything. And then you have Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which we know one goes after the other, because that's whole part of the story is Tears of the Kingdom is after so many years after Breath of the Wild. So that's kind of wild because, we've all been trying to figure out, and I watch those videos every time a new Zelda game comes out that people walk through and try to fit it into the timeline somehow and figure out how it works. And now Nintendo is straight out says, yeah, no, it doesn't fit in anywhere. Nowhere at all. According to the slide, chronologically, the first game is Skyward Sword, followed by the Minish Cap, 4 Swords, before everything splits after Ocarina, like I mentioned. This also means that the 2 most recent games end up being like the very first ones, The Legend of Zelda and Legend of Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, both set in the era of decline, but the Switch's epic adventure just flat lose, not even chronologically connected to one another. It also notes here. Go ahead.
It's just, I find it interesting that the 2 original Zeldas, Legend of Zelda and Zelda 2, are at the end of a timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's completely at the end. They close off the hero is defeated timeline. And there's 5 games before that. And I'm just like, holy shit. Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't understand. So in the graphic, you have the hero is defeated at the top, and then the hero is triumphant at the bottom. And I know that there's a line, but it also is in the bottom. So is it in the hero is triumphant story?
I don't know. That's a good question. It might be just because that's how they could fit it into the slide.
Yeah.
They had space. I mean, they could have stuck it down below on the left-hand side.
That's where I thought, I'm like, if it was totally outside, then why wouldn't it be over there? But also I think it's interesting because they have the graphic for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and then after it, they have Tears of the Kingdom, but they're not linked. There's no line between them.
They didn't do a little line,
That is weird, because that is part of they talk about that all this stuff happened before, and you see the ramifications of Breath of the Wild in Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah,
So,
I'm just trying
very curious.
I'm just trying to think now though, are they supposed
here's
to
the
be?
thing.
Maybe the graphic designer just forgot it, or the layer is set to off.
Here's the other
How
thing
dare
too.
they.
Now we have another game coming.
Yeah.
We have The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom coming. We don't know where that's going to sit. Maybe that's in between, and that's why they haven't put it in there, because they don't want to say that, because that's part of the reveal. They don't want to let it out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm hypothesizing.
Yeah, I mean, we're splitting hairs, but I thought that was interesting. I was like, oh, I kind of thought they were supposed to come after the other, but now.
But there could be something. So,
Yeah.
similar situation. We're now playing Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah.
It takes place in the year in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the
Yes.
and Return of the Jedi,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So maybe it could fit in there. I don't know. We might be, because I'm trying to remember now what happens with Zelda. Then Zelda still kind of exists after Breath of the Wild. She's gone.
Yeah.
No, she exists.
So, I mean, maybe she goes off on her own adventure, and that's when Link disappears for a bit, because then Link comes back. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, we're going
We
to.
have to wait and see. We're going to play this game and then figure out what the heck's going on. Or maybe they just all live on their own, and
that's
we're
okay.
just crazy for
That's
trying to
fine.
put them in order.
A lot of effort.
Maybe Echoes of Wisdom will start off another branch. I'm just going through this thing, and I'm seeing games that, I haven't played every Zelda game. I am aware of most of them. I'm looking at, the Heroes Triumphant Adult Era. Hyrule is Sealed in Flood, and we have Wind Waker and Phantom Hourglass. Paid the both of them. And then a new Hyrule Kingdom is founded, and it ends with The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks, and it's Link and Zelda on a fucking train. And I'm like,
You haven't played it?
no!
I don't think
I played that one.
I don't think I played that
I'm
one
pretty
either.
sure that was on DS.
Yes, yeah.
Spirit
Yeah.
Tracks.
I played Spirit Tracks.
Oh.
Is it good? This was a complete,
I don't know. I don't remember a lot of it, but I know I played it. It's not like one of those ones that have, there's certain ones that have pivotal moments in my mind. Obviously the classics like Ocarina of Time and Oracle of Seasons. I remember more than Oracle of Ages, but I have played both. But Seasons, I remember the mechanics in that with how the seasons change the gameplay and things like that. But, like, I've played Four Swords Adventures, but I don't remember much of it. I played Triforce Heroes. I don't remember much of it, right? It's just the way it is. There's a gap. They didn't resonate the same, right?
Yeah.
It's just crazy how it's like these are all standalone games. Like I've played a bunch of Zelda games, and in my mind, unless they're a direct sequel like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, it's just for me they've always been standalone games. It's just let's take the world and reboot it. Mm-hmm. It's only for like or Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask where they kind of make that distinct, like that direct line. But for me, it was always like. Sometimes they make a sequel, sometimes they just reboot, and I've never actually thought about connecting them. But apparently Nintendo has been thinking about it since 1987.
Well,
I don't know if they actually thought about it. I think they started making games, and then they decided to start trying to put in this order because people started saying what the order was, and it was always kind of like up in the air and loosey-goosey. And then they came out with Hyrule Historia, which I think really set into stone what the timeline was, but that was before Breath of the Wild came out. I'm pretty darn sure Hyrule Historia came out before Breath of the Wild.
So
let me look
basically, because the nerds were arguing on Reddit, there was like, fine, we'll make our own canon. Here it is. Shut the fuck up.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think...
Now pre-order the next game.
Yeah, I think it was more so people online were starting to theorize of like when was what, and what was the YouTube... Oh no, the theory guy.
Oh yeah, the game theorist.
Yeah, the game theorist.
Yeah.
He was all about where timelines were and everything, and I think that there was confusion. So I think Nintendo was like, "All right, we're gonna end this conversation."
They've set them up for another video now explaining this, right? So originally Legend of Zelda Hyrule Historia was first released in Japanese in 2011. Then it came out, it was published by Dark Horse Comics for English in 2013. Apparently there was a digital version that was sent to the Wii U. You could buy it in print or digital, but only for the Wii U.
Interesting.
Talk about burying it.
Talk about making sure people don't see it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That is funny.
Well, that pretty much closes out the show for this week. As always, we encourage you to check out the show notes on girlsongames.ca for links to all the stories mentioned in this episode. Obviously, to go check out info on the Remedy and Annapurna deal, or to learn more about what the real timeline is for Legend of Zelda, because that is something that has been troubling us all for many a moon now.
Losing sleep.
Yes. Thank you, Catherine, for putting that together every week. As always, if you could rate and review our podcast, that'd be much appreciated. You can do that by going to a podcasting platform where they have those mechanics. Not all of them do, but if they exist, please do participate. Why? It helps us with moving us up in the rankings, discoverability, and then, if you do leave comments, they do help us build our show. So much appreciated if you do that. This is the moment in the podcast where I ask the crew to shout out their social media handles so you can follow them anywhere and everywhere online. Catherine, where can people find you?
I am CSDSBINS pretty much everywhere. Instagram, X, Blue Sky, Threads, but I mostly hang out in the Girls on Games Discord.
Joelle.
People can find me on Instagram at JoelleLauren87, on X at gamer_comfy, but always saying hello and creeping on the great fashions that we discuss in the Girls on Games Discord. Come and say hi.
And I am Leah Jew, our most social media platforms. But of course, you want to know everything there is to know about Girls on Games. You can track us down at The Girls on Games on X and Facebook. Just Girls on Games on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. Discord.me/Girls on Games and continue this conversation and more. But of course, if you ever want to know anything and all, you can track it down at our home base. That's our website, girlsongames.ca. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Joelle. It's been another lovely week in video games, and I'm off to plunder more factions and steal all the things and build a ship and go off into space in Star Wars. See y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.